Welcome to DCPC Live presents Scene Support, the podcast that spotlights the people behind the scenes who keep DIY and underground music alive, from the bookers and the sound techs to the zine writers and venue operators. We're here to give credit where it's long overdue. I'm your host, Scott Pash, founder of DCPC Live, a DIY label putting out short-run vinyl of live punk, hardcore, ska, and metal shows. After decades in bands behind the scenes, I know the work it takes to keep a scene going, and today's guest is one of those people doing that work week in and week out. Today, I'm talking with Sophia Morekis. Yes, the force behind Devil's Advocate, an artist management and consulting company based out of Savannah, Georgia. Sophia got her start in Atlanta while studying media, entrepreneurship with a focus on music business, when she threw herself into booking and promoting shows both independently and through local venues. After graduating, she made the jump into artist management and hasn't looked back. She's now working with 3 Savannah-based bands, the Maxines, O'Shiner, and Lord Carry-On. If I mispronounce this, please let me know. And continues to push for greater femme representation and perspective within the metal and hardcore community. My first contact with Sophia occurred while booking the upcoming RBNX and Negative Rax Winter Tour, and I could tell from the get-go that this was a kindred spirit. So I wasted no time in asking them to be a guest so I could get to know all about what they do to support the scene. How are you doing, Sophia?
I'm doing wonderful. Yeah. I actually just got back in town from doing a kind of trek out in the region to check out some other shows.
Okay,
So that's been really fun.
cool. You want to elaborate on that a little bit? I bet that sounds really interesting.
Yeah. So I like to do a lot of like what I call reconnaissance
Mhm.
research missions, which are really just me going to shows and talking to people. So I went out to Memphis to see a band called Autolith, and then Thou, who is a pretty big band, but popped into a random little venue in Memphis. And then we went back to Birmingham for the Great Furnace Fest.
Okay.
So we were at Furnace
Furnace
Fest
Fest
for
is
a
always
while.
great. Yeah.
Yeah, it was fantastic and just really good to like see where everybody could go, like what festivals we can get on, what people are doing with festivals these days. And really just the sentiment behind it was really interesting. Um, yeah, I met a lot of like-minded people, and it was just really cool to see that community come alive. I really needed that. I mean, we get a lot of that in Savannah, but it's just a smaller place, and it's a bit of a dispersed crowd
Yeah.
here, but
I
but
get
yeah.
that. So I'm in the Hudson Valley, so we're
Mm,
very dispersed. So like I put a lot of miles on my car because I also like to, go to festivals. I did RPM Fest in Western Mass, Buffalo Ska Fest in Buffalo, Camp Pennsylvania outside of like Easton, Pennsylvania. I'll be down at the fest in Gainesville coming up soon, but I'm flying
oh,
to that
very
one.
cool. Yeah.
But a lot of that is, like you said, it's meeting people. My wife will be like, "Oh, how many records?" She's like, "Oh, sometimes I sell $400 worth, sometimes 100. Sometimes I meet a lot of great bands. Sometimes, well, I always meet a lot of great bands. And that's really kind of it. Like I'm just meeting great bands to bring around and get to know, and meeting promoters and other record labels. And it's as much about selling the records and vending there as it is about meeting the people and building that community.
Yeah. I mean, that's why you do it. I
Yeah.
mean, that's why I got into it, is just the people. And just I think the reason I started managing a band is because I went and got my ears pierced and started talking to the guy that was piercing my ears.
Okay.
Like that's kind of what it's about. Like we just started talking about music, and I had like vaguely kind of indirectly booked them before, and I was like, y'all sound like you need some help. And it's always great. I mean, Autolith out in Memphis, they were like, yeah, we've been trying to book a show in Savannah forever. And I was like, yeah,
Mm.
cool.
Yeah.
I'm your person. Let's do this.
Yeah, you were incredibly responsive, really thoughtful. You knew the venues, you knew bands right off the bat. I was like, oh, thank goodness. I mean, I don't know if you've booked larger tours for any of your bands yet, but I get a lot of like, oh, especially if it's a venue, like, yeah, you can have the spot. You need to find the 3 local bands. And
Hmm.
luckily, I have a pretty big spreadsheet. I've been doing this a while, but every now and then I'm in a town I've never been to before. I was like, I don't know who the good local bands are.
Yeah.
I mean, I can go listen, but even listening doesn't mean they're actually good people. And
Yeah.
sometimes a band with 4,000 followers on Instagram has no one show up, and someone that has 35 has everyone show up because they just don't do
Yeah.
social media. And
Yeah.
and it's hard to have that pulse without a local promoter that you can trust.
Hmm. And I think that's where I took a couple missteps like early on. Like I just thought that it's not that I think that I know everything or thought that I knew everything. It's just you it's not so cut and dry. Like you can't just copy and paste a methodology that you used on one show or one band onto the next one. And you can't just be like, oh, well, they have two guitars and drums and they play fast. Like that's probably, or their artwork kind of looks similar. You
Mhm.
can't really go based on that. You have to go through several hoops to get
Yep.
there and talk to some people and be like, hey, what's going on with this venue? Like, where are people playing?
Yep. It's some due diligence. I'm starting my Discord channel in a couple days. I just got done having a buddy help me figure it out because like I'm 50 years old. I don't use Discord, but I didn't use Instagram either. So I'm figuring it out. Like, but I feel like that's a good place to figure out what's happening. Like 25 years ago, I would go on a local message board. Like when in
Hmm.
DC, we had fear.com, you'd go there and people would be talking about the shows they're going to. And then, 15 years ago, Facebook groups, people actually engaged on Facebook groups and talked about their local shows. But now Facebook groups are just spam where people are
Yeah.
like either selling sausages or, promoting a flyer for a show 5 hours away.
Yeah, or it's like an EDM thing on
Yeah.
it. I see that all the time. Like I got into like some it was very specific. It was like a metal community in like I don't know, some big city, but it was just I was scrolling through and they'll be like, "Hey, I need a vocalist for this show, EDM
Uh,
flyer. Hey, I need a fill-in drummer, EDM flyer."
yeah.
It was like,
Yeah.
"What's going on?"
I found like the only groups that might have any value are the ones where you have to like take the quiz before you're allowed in, where you have to like
Right.
answer
Yeah.
some questions. Like they're trying to at least make sure that you keep it relevant. And really the
Mhm.
best ones, like there was one I used to be part of called Punk Rock Dads, but I just don't have time for it. Where,
Mhm.
it's pretty good. It gets shut down every now and then because some dads just don't know how to maintain composure, and keep their mouths from being stupid. Um, but at least it was a lively conversation. It wasn't a whole
Sure.
bunch of
Yeah.
like EDM things. So let me take a step back and could you tell me kind of your musical journey, like how you got into music, where you started, and what kind of led you to major in music entrepreneurship? Because that's super rad. I'm getting my PhD, and I'm like, oh, I wish I had majored in musical entrepreneurship instead of being a teacher.
It was fantastic.
Okay.
It was the best thing ever. And I kind of like it wasn't a natural thought. Like, it wasn't like, "Oh, from the age of 5, I always knew I would be in this." Like, it
Yeah.
wasn't like that at all. Like, I grew up actually a ballet dancer, so I thought I was gonna do ballet for the rest of my life. But I had always loved this is from my dad. I grew up listening to old school metal, and we would go, like, CD record shopping um, and I kind of learned a lot from him, as most kids learn from their dads about
Sure.
stuff. Like music was our connection, and and we used to always go to shows together. I remember he took me to see kind of a big thing for me was when I went and saw Alice Cooper and Motley Crue, and and I was young. I was
Yeah.
very young, and I was like, "Wow, this is great." And it was a bigger stadium. So we started off doing like safe like stadium tours and stuff. And then I we went to a couple festivals and then I moved up to Atlanta for school and his partner at the time was also living up in Atlanta, so he would come up and visit us both and we would go to shows together. And there are just so many venues doing stuff all the time
Hmm.
in Atlanta. And so, and some of the tickets were like, yeah, $10 to see like 6 bands.
Hmm.
And I was like, okay, let's do it. And so he would come up and we'd go to a couple shows every weekend. And that kind of that went on for a very long time. And actually, when I first went to college, I was an anthropology major, which kind of makes sense when you think about it, of just like the history of human behavior. And so that's what I was initially on track to study. And I simultaneously with all of this, I read Shep Gordon's
Yeah.
biography, so the manager of Alice Cooper. And that's when being a music manager like really became an actual like future for me. Like, oh, there are people that do this, because I'm not musically talented. I'm not like I play guitar sometimes,
Yeah.
but it's usually like just really like slowed down sludgy stuff, but that's all I can handle.
I'm lucky enough to
But
be a drummer, so as long as I'm adequate and not an asshole, I can always find a band.
yeah, oh yeah, totally,
Yes.
totally, totally. But yeah, Shep Gordon was like his mind for business mixed with like creativity and adding like something unexpected in there. He was always like doing a groundbreaking thing. And I really respected that. And the thing about Shep Gordon is like he didn't like metal. He didn't really even like music that much. And and he was just like, but I was like, okay, I love music and I think I have a mind for this.
Sure.
And I I can't remember if I went to the people at my university or if they did like a forum thing. I don't really remember, but I was like, yeah, I kind of want to do music business. And they were like, oh, we have this new thing. It's called media entrepreneurship, and you can basically make your concentration within a creative field and adding business components onto that.
Oh, that's pretty sharp.
So
I love that.
it was fantastic. Yeah, it was really great, and they kind of got us out into the community more. So it was really community driven. Um, yeah, it was great, and that's when I started doing my own booking and promotion. Um, I started like a very small business with a couple of my friends,
Okay.
and it was all, this is gonna sound crazy, but it was all based on cereal, like the breakfast food.
All right. I love this. Keep going.
And and I did a whole business plan on the idea that cereal should be incorporated into music promotion.
Okay.
I don't know why, but I was like, how cool would it be if like a band had their own kind of cereal? And this was like little, like, 19 18 19-year-old me. And so I did a couple one-off like shows that were all cereal themed. And then we did Crunch Fest in
Okay.
Atlanta. So, and then that was in 2019. So then we were gonna do Sog Fest, so like soggy
Sure.
cereal.
Soggy cereal. Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah.
love it. I love it.
And but that's when COVID hit, and then I
Yeah.
like basically kind of shut down all of that. But I think it was either late 2020 or 2021. I moved back down to Savannah and started working at a record store here.
Okay.
And that expanded me a lot in terms of sheer catalog of who's buying what and what genres are kind of overlapping. And so that gave me a really good idea of like what demographically we could do and what sounds were kind of coming back. And yeah, and then I met that guy piercing my ears, and I managed that band for a couple years, and they disbanded because they just moved too far away
It
to keep it up.
happens. I
Yeah,
tell when I was a middle school teacher, I used to tell kids that the key to success being in a band is just not to break up. Um,
yeah,
but unfortunately, you're married to three people that you wouldn't even go on a date with.
yeah.
So, and invariably something goes awry. And it could be all totally simple stuff from someone just deciding that they're getting married and having kids and don't want to be on the road anymore to
Yeah,
whatever. It's incredibly hard just to stay together
it
and
is
like
hard.
maintain that
Yeah,
same cohesive sound. Most of
yeah,
the bands I've been in have had very few lineup changes.
that's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the bands I manage now, so there's three of them, and they have very, very different dynamics. So it's not, again, it's not the copy paste
Yep.
method, especially when you're dealing with different people. You have to really, really learn how they operate as a group. And I kind of meet with them. So when I sit down with a new band, I tell them kind of what I do, what I expect from them, kind of my rhythm, my workflow type thing. And I give them a trial period
Yep.
for myself and for them to see if we are communicating at the same
Hmm.
level. And that's worked out really well. It's given me a chance to kind of learn them as people, and I go to their practices, and so I see how they create, how they play together when there's not really anybody around. And and they're so different. Like even
Yep.
just within the three that I manage, they're so different. They're all amazing people, all care so much. They create, I mean, they're my favorite bands essentially. Um so they create amazing stuff, but how they go about it is just so interesting. And that's what makes this so exciting, and it makes me want to keep doing this and maybe want to start devil's advocate and like be a thing to help other people. And because it's creative in its own way. Like you're not actually in a creative field yourself being a manager, but you're creative in the sense, and it's somewhat psychological
Hmm.
too. So it's so fun. Like it's so fun.
I would say like you are creative. Like you have to creatively problem solve. Whether
Yeah.
like say on the record label side, I've put out about 50 records. Some of them splits, some of them with four bands. Getting four bands to agree on color of a vinyl enough,
Yes.
getting them to agree about how we're going to present the record, because some bands want nothing to do with Spotify. Some
Right.
bands want nothing to do with Bandcamp. Some bands, they insist on having test presses. Some are like, no, let's do it cheaper and faster and not do tests. And it's like
Yeah.
managing that. And like, even like I've gotten into the booking recently, and, you know, some bands I've been working with, okay, I'm booked the tour. And 3 days later, one of them reached out and said, I booked a date. I was like, well, are you booking the tour? Am I booking the tour? Because I also
Oh
was reaching
man.
out to people for that same day.
Yeah.
And I'm fine. If you want to
Yeah.
take care of XYZ city,
Yeah.
go right ahead.
Yeah.
But tell me so I don't, you know, it's
Yeah.
a process that you have to learn. Like you said, the communication skills. So
Exactly. Yeah. And sometimes you have to like um this might sound bad, but it's like you almost have to reverse psychology some people of being um like letting them come up with an idea, and then just like kind of gently pushing them and to coming to some decision. And then being like, oh wow, like with one of my bands I do have to be like, okay, like they'll eventually come to a decision, it'll be a good one, and I just have to maybe like almost say what I think they think, and then they'll be like, no, and then eventually they'll say it back to me, and I'll be like, okay, cool, we can go from there.
okay, we're good. We're saying the
Um,
same thing differently, but you're with me.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So you have to like anticipate things like that. And yeah, literally everybody has different ways of communication. And I think it's kind of my strong suit that I just make it a point to keep up with it, because that's all you can really do. You can't really
Do you
uh
normally have like one point of contact in each band, or do you have a band group chat where you talk to all of them?
I have a group chat with each of them, and
Okay.
we talk pretty much daily. Um and even if it's just about anything, like
Yeah.
uh I can't remember where I heard this, but somebody was like, if you want to engage with an art or creative endeavor, you just look at it. Like if you play guitar,
Yeah.
just like look at it and hold it and tune it every day,
Yeah.
if you don't feel like playing. So that's kind of what you have to do with the band. Like even if there's like little lulls,
Hmm.
you still have to like engage with it, engage with the people. Like at least look at your roster of contacts. Like I have a old like physical
Yeah.
Rolodex just 'cause I don't just when I need something to kind of spark something, um, I have like physically contacts that I've written down and what they do. And I'm like, oh, okay, if I have nothing that I'm like that's pressing,
Yeah.
or if I'm a little lost, I just go to that. Um, or yeah, I mean it's really interesting.
That's fascinating. So, what are your specific things that you do? Because I know I have one band, World Sucks, and I am their manager. I manage their social
Mhm.
media. I book their studio time. I find them photographers.
Mhm.
I find them pressing plants for their shirts, et cetera, et cetera. I'm shipping out the record to record labels. The other
Mhm.
two bands, I'm just a booking manager. I just
Okay.
book their tours. I don't manage anything else. That's it. They do their own local stuff, but when it comes to like, oh, we're going on tour, yeah, that's what we're doing. I have another couple bands that are coming on to do just the booking side. What do you handle when you say you're the manager? Like, what is your buffet of things that you do?
So basically booking right now is a big part. We're just trying to fill out the year. Um, two two out of the three of my bands are currently writing and recording.
Okay,
So I don't necessarily schedule studio time, but I make sure the studio person gets paid and I make sure that everybody knows the details of that. I just don't have I just know that they have a better rapport with the studio person at this point because I came in after they made that contact. So I just let them kind of figure out what dates work best for them and they do that, but I just make sure that the money side of it is okay. And so one of them just went through an EP recording, so I'm gonna be facilitating in like the mixing process of that. And I found them a master. So they didn't know who they wanted to master the EP. So I kind of did a lot of research and found someone and reached out to them and ran it by the band, and they were like, "This is sick." So we went in that direction, and balancing, you know, funds that we have to spend on that with the
sure.
quality that we want. And so that's kind of been the bulk of my work lately. But in the past we've done like online merch sales. So I will ship off all the merch. I order the merch. I've facilitated in the design of the merch, like basically commissioning artwork
Yeah. Hmm.
for it. Um And yeah, I mean, every Monday I give them updates
Okay.
on kind of what I'm working on. And yeah, it really varies, but the bulk of it is booking. I do, it's funny because when I tell like my friends and family that I do band management, they immediately think I just do social media,
Yes.
but that's like the bottom of the list of what
Yes.
I do. Um And like I'll go on there, post a couple stories, like respond to messages or
Yeah.
whatever. Um, but that's like a very, very small percentage of what it is.
So, and you can decline to answer if you want to, because I know I like charge a per hour, for like, the band I manage, and
Hmm.
then for the other bands, it's like a per hour, then a percentage of like the tour. You do a lot of work, it sounds like, on a daily basis. Do you get like a flat rate that they use to retain your services? Because what
Yeah.
you're doing is valuable and you deserve to get paid for it.
hmm Yeah, so I do, after the trial period, they do pay me a monthly retainer fee.
Okay.
I started off doing the percentage, but I don't know, something about it just felt weird to me. Um, because I want them to, I want it to feel good for them. So, and I want to, like, I feel good with what I get paid. Like,
Sure,
I
sure. I assume you
feel,
do. Yes.
um, but yeah, so we kind of nixed that early on. And it was just so varied that I didn't want that to really, because it was more back end, like behind the scenes stuff that I was working on. It
Sure,
wasn't
sure.
like um I don't know. I just felt weird about it. So we went to a monthly retainer fee, and they are all on contract. So it's like this amount per month until the
Okay.
term ends.
And you drew those up
Uh,
yourself when you went to business school. So I'm assuming you drew those
yeah,
up.
yeah. I took like law classes and like copyright and IP stuff, and like just legal business classes were
Okay.
like tied into that. So eventually I would like to go to like law school for copyright and IP, just because I feel like that's so important now.
Sure, sure.
But we're gonna ride this out
Nice.
first and see what happens.
And the bands you manage, from my observation, listening to them, they're all pretty much on the metal side. Is
Yeah.
that where you're? I
hmm
mean, you mentioned Alice Cooper and metal with your dad and Motley Crue. Is that kind of where your heart lies? Is in metal?
Definitely. I started Devil's Advocate as a thing to draw in metal artists, but also I started it not necessarily to manage other metal bands. Like, I would like to just do consulting on a basis of like people that don't want to commit to a
Hmm.
contract. Um But yeah, metal is where my heart lies for sure, but that's not exclusively what I listen to or consume, I guess. Um, so I'm not ever gonna say like, if you have good music, you have good music, and
Yeah, yeah.
I'll appreciate you and respect you because of that.
I mean, I
So,
tend to lean on the '80s hardcore when like all hardcore was punk, but not all punk was hardcore, and hardcore hadn't become
exactly.
metal yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
That being said, you give me a good ska band in there or some post
Yeah.
punk band that I'm like, and I can't describe it because post punk means nothing. But
It
if it's
does,
good
yeah.
music and they're good people, I'm like, you know what? It's not
Mhm.
the normal thing. And since I do live albums, especially, if you can put on a good live show, I'm
Yeah.
unconcerned. Like I
That is
there are
huge.
bands I will go see live that I would never put on the record to on a regular basis and spin it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I love seeing them live. When I get a live record, I was like, now I feel that. I feel that.
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah.
So I reached out to you and I can't remember if I found your email off of one of your band's Instagram pages or they forwarded me to you or suggested it. Um, but is it very common for people like me, like DIY booking agents, to reach out to you and ask for like shows for tours for bands, or am I more of like an anomaly?
It's pretty common.
Okay.
Well, I would say it's like maybe I'll get one or two a week or
Okay.
so.
That's a good amount though.
Yeah. But or like some sort of inquiry
Yeah.
about it. Sometimes they're not specific, sometimes they're very vague
Yeah.
inquiries, but um yours was pretty specific and helpful. So thank you. um but yeah, particularly for the Maxines, like the femme fronted band, like
Yes.
they've been around a while. So and that's a really big community right now. So I get that a lot of people they a lot of people assume that they're not um people assume that they're bigger than they are. Like we'll get inquiries from like all across the country, and we're like, we literally cannot go there.
Yes. Yes.
But it's really like it's really appreciated, and I'm like, wow, like this is crazy. It's kind of like a pinch yourself moment for
Have they
sure.
gone on a lengthy tour yet at all, like a 3 week or 4 week tour?
No, just like I think the max has been like maybe 10 to 14 days.
Okay.
But they are going on one in November and with a Canadian band, and then next year we're
Okay.
getting them up to Canada
Nice.
somehow. I'm gonna have to figure that out. Like that's another thing I'm gonna have to figure out is like just the
Getting
legalities
them
behind.
across,
Yeah.
and whether you're going to try and sneak equipment across or whether you're going to come
Yeah.
across some other way. There's always complications of sorts.
Right.
I've toured Canada, so it's it was definitely there was some trickery, but um
Yeah.
and the metal band that I manage, World Sucks, their bass player lives in Canada, so they've
Okay.
gone up for some one shots into Montreal back and forth. But
Cool.
even that, there has always been like I created like fake. I've created contracts that are appropriately used for them to cross the border.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
So
hilarious.
yeah, I had a band called Cam Girl from Asheville, North Carolina. I mean,
I feel like that sounds familiar.
you would love them, like them fronted,
Yeah.
like that mixture is like neon, everything's neon, and it's like
Hmm.
Motley Crue, but it's also like Dio, and it's just amazing.
Nice.
And they were on like a 2 or 3 month tour, like their first really long one. And I had reached out to them maybe 4 months before and said, hey, if you ever want to come up here, let me know. So I'll reach out to bands because you never know what their plans are 5 months from now.
Hmm.
And a friend had me listen to them, and I was like, oh, well, they go on tours. Well, they always go out to California and back. Well, I'm going to convince them to come up north instead. So
Hmm.
next time you want to tour, come up this way. I'll hook you up with some shows. And they did. So you never know. So like
Cool.
people reaching
Yeah.
out to the
Yeah.
magazines, like
Yeah.
maybe you haven't done it yet, but maybe you're looking to do it.
Yeah. 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 Exactly. And kind of on the flip side, like I always tell my bands, I'm like, they'll say something offhandedly as a joke of like, oh, maybe we could play with so and so. Like, oh, maybe we could play this fest in the UK. I'm like, yeah, like
Yeah.
careful what you ask me to do because I will do it. And you gotta be sure that you want it.
Yes, it's quite feasible that it can be
Yeah.
done. You don't
Yeah.
know what you can get until you ask for it. And then, yes, if you ask for it and I get it for you, you better be able to do it because otherwise
Right.
I'm
Mhm.
sitting here looking like an asshole because
Yeah.
I booked you a 3 week tour in Europe and now you're canceling 2 days before you leave because you
Yeah.
realize you actually can't go. And I'm like, no, that doesn't work for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
So I
yeah,
remind them of that often of just like, are you sure you want this?
yeah,
Because it's gonna happen if you like
yeah.
just stay the course.
Like I would say, look at RPM Fest in Western Massachusetts. This is my first year going to it, but it was absolutely great. So many
Mm.
great metal bands, and the Brian who runs it, he's a drummer in two bands, but I know him mostly from Power Up, which is really a
Mhm.
melodic punk band with horns. But he also plays drums in a super dope ass metal band whose name is escaping me for some reason. But yeah, I would recommend looking into that for next
Cool. Awesome.
yeah, next year around. I think it's June, end of June. I went to too many festivals this summer. It's all just
Yeah,
in
it
my
was a
head.
lot. Yeah.
It's in my head. Um, so do you have a lot of venues you consistently work with? So if you're getting like 2 requests a week or even just one, like I know I try to keep it to 2 or 3 a month. And I know this summer I went out of control because I had some free time and I did like 5, even sometimes
Mm.
6. And I'm like, it's way
Mhm.
too many. I can't promote them as well as I would like to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or I'm just exhausted because I'm doing like, like I am managing 2 shows for a festival that I didn't book on Friday and Saturday. And then I have a show that I actually am
Yeah.
booking on Sunday. And then next week, I brought a band up for a 3-day run, Burning Hag from Philadelphia. You would love them. Femme fronted, dark metal grunge, super
Oh,
dope.
awesome.
I'm not running the Friday show. I helped them get it. Holly
Mhm.
from Outsider Magazine's running it, but I got to be there. And then I am running the Saturday and Sunday. So that's like,
Mhm.
and then I'm in a fest the next weekend. So that, what am
Yeah.
I doing to myself? Like, when do I see my family?
Yeah.
So what do you do? How many shows do you do? How regularly do you do it? What venues do you work with?
Yeah, so I typically work I have booked I actually just started booking with a venue here called The Stables. They didn't normally do music shows. They were
Okay.
mostly like an art gallery. But they this in the later part of this year they started doing like they were like, okay, like we'll book a couple music shows or whatever, and they went really, really well.
Okay.
And we did a show in August that went super well, and they reached out to me and were like, we want to do monthly metal shows, but
Sick.
we don't have anybody to book it. Like, will you book it for us? I was like, okay. So I'm rolling that out towards the end of this year and into
Okay.
next year.
Very solid.
So yeah, that'll be great. It'll just be like kind of they were basically like whenever and whoever you want,
Do they
just
have a
like,
staff that helps you? Like, I do monthly shows at a place in Kingston, but I have to bring my own sound person, my own sound gear, my own door
yeah,
people. So, like,
yeah.
there's no one there to help me. Like, if I didn't have the great backline of people I have supporting me, I couldn't do it.
Right. Yeah. So I have like some people that I like to work with as far as sound people and promoters. Um there's this one local booker promoter that does AuraFest here.
Okay.
And so he does shows kind of throughout the year. There's actually a show tonight that I'm gonna go to after this
Rad.
where one of my bands is playing.
Well, thank you
And
for meeting with me before the show. That's so kind of you.
no, no, it's great. This is like a dream come true. Like this is the life I want for sure. But yeah, so he books with us a lot and is really, really sweet, and tries to do things that are kind of like strategic, um and will it's not just like I need a band, like will you guys hop on? It's not like that. It's like so we work together, we kind of tag team the scene a lot. And over the years I've developed like a really good um relationship with some venues, mostly in like North Carolina and Nashville and kind of the region.
Okay.
Like there are some bands and venues that I'm like we even if they can't directly be a part of this, like they have our backs, like they will help us. And even this one, like I spoke to a manager in Nashville, and I just started following him on Instagram, and we like got to talking on there. And he was like, "Hey, do you want to like have a phone call? Like I've been managing for a while. Like do you want to just talk uh and just ask me anything basically?" So I called him up and we talked, and he signed me up to like a music management like forum basically. Um like he got me a membership to this
That's awesome. I
great
love when people are kind and
resource.
supportive of each other.
Yeah. Yeah. I was like,
Yeah.
this is fantastic. So definitely I have like a um it's been so eye-opening. Just the it does take a village to like
Yep.
put these things together. And and you'll figure it out pretty quickly which ones are in it for the wrong reasons,
Yep.
you know? And I think for the first like 6 to 8 months of me doing this was me not knowing those things. And sometimes I had to figure out the hard way, you know?
Yeah. Mistakes
And
get made, but you learn from them.
yeah, 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 exactly. So by this point, I'm pretty confident in my connections that I do have, and that and you just some of it's just like throwing a bunch of stuff at a wall and seeing what sticks, but the things that do stick will massively help you, or they can for sure.
Absolutely. You had mentioned in previously that you really want to be like femme forward and
Hmm.
inclusive on that. And like I know DCPC Live, like we try and have inclusive spaces that are My shows tend to be as diverse as possible, BIPOC, queer,
Hmm.
trans, femme, so it's not all just the same straight white cisgender guys getting up there
Yeah.
screaming that I've heard for the last
Yeah.
30 years. Do you get any pushback on your attempts to democratize and bring that kind of radical? I say it shouldn't be radical, but I feel like it's still radical.
Yes. That's the thing. Like I think people expect me, or like I'm a pretty even-keeled person. Like I let the band kind of invigorate and be that sort of more radical force. Um, but I personally, I would like to just normalize it. Like it doesn't have to be this crazy, like, oh my gosh, like there's some girls doing metal or whatever. Like this is crazy. Like that's not the shtick. The thing about it is that they're great and they're
Yes.
fantastic. It's not that they're, and sometimes like me and the vocalist for the Maxines will like look at a comment and it'll be like, oh, this music's great, but she's, I don't really care for female vocalists or whatever, like, or some like crass comment or whatever. And it's just like, just I want to, it's not about that. I want it to be just more normalized, and especially me as a more professional
Yep.
figure, um, just be able to have a conversation and just trust me. That's a huge thing. Just trust and respect me as the position I am, not necessarily because I'm female or whatever. It's just because I'm good at my job. And I didn't get this role because I'm a girl
Sure.
or a femme or whatever. I got this job because I know what I'm doing. So that's that's more the sentiment I would like to bring to the
Yep.
table. And like maybe not now, but like eventually. But yeah, so that would be huge for me if like that was just not um the eventual goal is to have it not be talked about,
Yeah.
but it has to be talked about in order to get to that
It
point.
won't get normalized until it's done. Like
Yeah,
I have to be intentional in my booking
right.
because, I have 3,000 bands on my spreadsheet. And while there
Mhm.
are certainly far more people of color in the hardcore and punk, women, LGBTQ, it's still not as many as people who, the
Yeah.
standard, white male. And like, I know when my wife sang and played guitar in a band, she had to write a song called My Vagina Doesn't Sound Like Kathleen Hanna, because everyone just say, oh, you're a female singer, so you must sound like Kathleen Hanna from Bikini Kill, because
Oh
all
my
females with
God.
guitars sound like
Yeah.
Kathleen Hanna. And she sounds
Yeah.
nothing like Kathleen Hanna. So it's like,
Yeah, of course not.
it's that constant issue. And I have friends of mine in this band called Soji from Philadelphia.
Mhm.
They are a very upfront queer BIPOC group. Their lead singer is leaving, so they put out an ad saying they needed a new lead singer and it had to be a black femme-fronted person with radical politics. And the most thing they got attacked for was that, like, I forget what the word was. Someone said something, it's like the opposite of misogynist, a manginist or something, like
Yeah.
attacking them for like keeping men out of music. I was like, keeping men out of music? How are men being kept out of music? Like,
Yeah.
men are in music everywhere you go. It's
Yeah. Yeah.
it's essentially an aggressive music. Um, I was reading Sellout, the book about all the punk bands like the
Yeah.
90s.
Mhm.
Do you know the
Mhm.
Distillers?
Mhm.
Um, so apparently, at one point in the book, they're like, "Oh, your album that we just came out through a major label, we can't put it on the radio because the radio said we can only have two female vocalists out right now on rock radio, and we already have No Doubt and Hole, and rock radio said that we can't have three vocalists on in a week that are female."
Oh my gosh.
Like, I was like, "What are you
Jesus.
talking about? What
What?
formula is that?"
Yeah. Yeah.
I
It
don't
it
understand it.
seems I mean, it seems completely arbitrary. Like what is that possibly based on? Like
Yeah.
oh my God.
I mean, I'm not going to book a band regardless of any other extraneous aspects if they're not a good band,
Yeah.
right? Because if I put up an all, you know, BIPOC band or an LGBT, like queercore band, and they weren't any good, all that would do is reinforce the idea from the naysayers out that they're not any good. Like, they have to be
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Of course, there are a lot of shitty straight white bands that get booked shows.
That's true. Yeah, that's very,
There
very
are a lot
true.
of, but
Yeah.
I'm also pretty proud that I just don't book shitty bands. Period.
Yeah. Yeah. That should be the main goal.
Like, it's just like, don't book shitty bands.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's really interesting, but it's like a constant balance you have to strike between like being intense and intentional, but also like just being yourself and just like showing up
yeah,
and and just keep pushing and just keep being a normal nice person.
I
It's
think
kind of all
you
you
like
can
you speak
do.
about showing up. That's key. Like, you had even mentioned in the beginning. I can't remember if it was during the interview, prior to the interview, where you said you go down and like did reconnaissance and go to shows.
Yeah. Mhm.
Like, I moved here like 3 years ago, and one of the first shows I went to was like a house show on the SUNY New Paltz like college campus, and I'm like the 48-year-old guy handing out handbills for a show I have coming up, going to check out the
Mhm.
local like scene, and I'm like,
Mhm.
you have to get out there and do it. We're like, wow, you come out to shows. You don't just come out to your own shows. I'm like, yeah, I'm part of the community.
Yeah.
Like, I come out, and sometimes I don't hand out handbills because I just want to be a citizen and I don't feel like working tonight.
Right.
I just want to
Yeah.
enjoy the music and meet people. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, you got to get out there and be part of it.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, definitely.
So, are your venues, do they tend to be all ages? Because you had mentioned going to shows at a young age with your dad. Are you able to provide all ages venues in your area?
We try to. Unfortunately, a lot of them around this area have been closing for not any like specific reason. I think they're just maybe getting priced out because around here is getting really expensive.
Sure.
Um, but yeah, so we're trying to get more creative with the venues that we go to. Like there's a coffee house locally here that is puts on a fun show and it's all
Yeah.
ages and I remember I was really really nervous about this one show back in April and cuz it was like a lot of moving parts. Like nobody kind of knew what they were doing. Um it was announced it was at this venue. It was all ages. It was announced like maybe 5 or 6 days before the show.
Okay. It does
It is
happen.
when it was announced.
Yeah.
and and it was a packed show.
Yeah.
And like this is people will come out for this. Like
Yes.
they're hungry for it. And that's why I'm grateful to book at this newer venue is because they're all ages and but my biggest gripe about Savannah is that it's a drinking town for
Sure.
sure. And it's there's this huge knowledge gap in business owners that are like and venue owners
Yeah.
that have to be 21 and up. And it's really frustrating because that really alienates so much of our listeners, especially as newer bands, especially as metal hardcore
Yeah.
bands, which are like, huge with that
They are. And,
demographic.
and on one level, like, I get it. There's either the safety issue, right? Like, they want to make
Yeah,
sure that there's no underage drinking. They might have to bring in extra security, or it slows down their bar service because they have to double ID or something like that.
yeah.
Got that. Or it could be like, I'll go to hardcore shows in Reason and Ruckus, and especially if it's a straight edge hardcore show that's all ages, I'll look
Mhm.
at the bar and I'll be like, I'm the only person ordering a beer, and I've had only like 2 beers over the course of 4 hours. So I'm like, and if the bar's not taking money off the door, they're basically just hosting 150 people
Yeah.
who are jumping
Yeah.
around and enjoying their venue, which is great because they love the music and they love the community, but they
Mhm.
do have to pay their rent.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like, it's a
That is
balance
true.
there.
Yeah. Yeah. And most of what we have is not they're not venues per se. They are
Yeah.
bars like
Yeah.
what you're talking about. They're bars and clubs. And so we did have a all ages venue that lasted maybe a year and some change, that was put on by the record store that I had worked at.
Okay.
The owner opened up a venue, and it was all ages, and they were doing like, they were very, very successful, but it
Yeah.
was just, they were part of a um kind of a strip,
Hmm.
and the other people, the other owners of the strip didn't like that there were so many people there sometimes.
Yeah, it's the outside people when they go outside to
Yeah,
smoke or just hang out and loiter and
yeah,
skateboard.
yeah.
That
It's
often
like,
causes an issue.
yeah, yeah. So I do definitely get it about if it's just, if it's an operational, fully operational bar or club, like, yeah, but also we should just have venues for venues' sake,
Yes.
and just have that be that, and then it's not this weird thing. This weird, like, transactional, like, hyper transactional thing,
Yes.
you know?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. It's not many people open up a venue to be a venue. Well, through this world, we find was like, oh, here's a bar. I was at one in Albany the other day, and I was like, oh, look at that back corner over there. I could throw down a drum rug
Yeah.
and put up a PA
Yeah.
and two draw
I
floor
think about
monitors.
that all the
Well, let's
time.
just move this. There's like, I see they have pinball games. So I was like, you put some tables in front of them so they don't get smashed. Yeah, I can fit 55 people in here. Oh, this would be
Yeah.
dope. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, I wonder how good their business is on a Friday night. Are they are they desperate enough yet to try punk rock and hardcore? You know, like a lot of times it's like the dying gasp of a bar to go, fine, whatever.
Yeah.
We don't have any
Yeah.
business anyway. What are you gonna do? Make it worse?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, you brought in 100 people. Okay, this is good. Let's do this.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very interesting. I mean, a lot of it, it's funny because I was talking with my partner about where we would potentially move to if not Savannah. And you're familiar with Pig Destroyer, the
Oh,
band?
absolutely.
Yeah,
Yes.
they're my favorite of all time. And I was like, we were kind of going back and forth on like maybe Richmond, maybe Philadelphia,
Yeah.
maybe like Chicago. So we were talking about all these cities, and I was like, I just, I said this partially as a joke. I was like, I just want to go somewhere where Pig Destroyer will play, and I just want to move there and just live in a place where Pig Destroyer can regularly play. And he was like, that's actually like a really good marker of a town and the
Yeah.
infrastructure and the economy.
Yep.
Like if they can support like kind of mid-range bands like that, like niche bands, if the community is there for it, like it just matters so much.
I mean,
And
I was lucky enough to grow up in the suburbs of DC.
nice. Oh,
So,
perfect.
92, I'm 16, going to hardcore shows in
Yeah.
DC, going to shows in
Yeah.
Richmond, going to shows in Baltimore, short drives to Philly, New York City. I had so much. And then I
Yeah. Yeah.
moved to Florida for a hot minute. I was like, oh, it's okay.
Yeah.
I thought it would be better
Right.
because when I was a kid reading Circus Magazine in my garage, I was like, oh, every death metal band's from Orlando. You got Obituary, you got Animal
Uh,
Corpse,
Huge like
Carcass, I
skate
think.
culture.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot of death metal, but it was all in
Hmm.
Tampa. I was in Orlando, but I was like, it's fine.
Yeah.
So is the culture of Savannah, is it mostly a metal town, or if you had like the
No,
DIY
well,
music scene?
it's kind of, it's so it's difficult to tell. Like it is, I would say it is a metal town because we've got like some big metal bands that are from here. Um, Baroness, Kylesa, Black
Ah,
Tusk,
Baroness.
like, yeah, like they're all from here. So there's always been kind of that sludgy thing that
Okay.
came out. So basically I think of it as like a lot of people, um, you get the New Orleans sludge mixed with the Florida death,
Yep.
mixed with that weird Appalachia stuff.
Yeah.
And you kind of get this kind of fast, like sludge core
Yep.
almost.
We called it
And
swamp metal down in Florida.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like that. So it's, um, I mean, the bands I manage now are metal primarily, but one's like death, one's more like grindy hardcore, one is more grunge slash new metal. Um, and so you get these really interesting subgenres. So I would say overarching, if you would ask anybody on the street, they'd be like, no, Savannah's not a metal town. But if you spend some time with these people, like you're like, oh, metal shows are kind of the most attended here, I would say. Other than that, there's like a lot of just Americana
Of
and
course
stuff
there
like
is.
that. So it's just like there's not a whole lot in the middle, I don't
Yeah.
think. Now that I
Yeah.
think about it, there's not a whole lot there,
It's
but it's
the two
kind of different.
extremes, right?
Yeah,
That's
definitely.
fascinating.
hmm
Um, so what would you say has been both the most difficult and most rewarding part about starting up your business, doing what you're doing right now?
The most difficult is failing. I mean, just being comfortable with getting the no's, with
Yeah.
things not working out the way you want them to. Um, it's a hard lesson to learn, and you only learn it by doing it a
Yep.
lot. Um, and yeah, and I think that is just I did a really interesting thing in college that helps me a lot with this. I think it would have been a lot harder had I not done this, but my one of my professors did what they call a fail con.
Okay.
So basically you get up in front of all of the classes, all of the courses for that particular class, and you just talk about your greatest failure. And
Wow.
everybody cheers like it's like the best thing ever.
That is awesome. I love
And
that.
yeah, it was amazing. And it helps me a lot with just like kind of doing future pitches and just cold calling people, cold walking up to people and just be like, "Oh, well, I already did the thing I wanted to do the least in my life,
Yep.
which is tell somebody about this huge failure I had. So this isn't going to be as bad." And so yeah, that was like if you're ever able to do something similar to that,
No, I
I
love
would
that.
encourage that. It's really good.
I
But
know when I
I think
was a
that's
middle school teacher, I would do like push-ups for every mistake the kids noticed I made, whether I spoke something or grammar,
really
like just to show them there was exponentially more. So the second push-up was two, and the second mistake was two push-ups. Next one was three.
oh, that's
And like,
great.
Mr. P, you do like 35 push-ups today. I was like, well, I kept making mistakes. Look,
I'm
I'm the
messing up a
expert.
lot.
I just want them to realize like how much I screw up within a 45-minute moment. Like it's
Yeah,
okay. You're
yeah,
gonna make
yeah.
mistakes.
It's
Don't be
it's
afraid to screw up.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. But it is scary. Like it is. I think that's the most difficult part. Is like, um, it is just the shame involved in that,
sure.
and like letting down a band. Because there have been moments of that, and be like, guys, like I don't know, like this is not coming together, or we have to postpone this,
Yep.
or something like that. Like that's just really, really hard. Um, but on the other side of that, the most rewarding things are just like, it's kind of like what they say about film editing. It's like if it's really good, you don't notice it.
Yeah, I love that.
And is it's felt similar with managing. It's like if nobody really knows what you did or who you are, like and everybody's just enjoying the music and having a great time, then you can just kind of sit down and just bask in it. And nobody is like nobody knows.
Yeah.
And it's weird that that's the most rewarding, but that it just indicates like a seamless
Yeah.
creation.
A good show is so great. I had a show this last Friday. The venue changed 2 days beforehand.
Oh man.
The owner of the venue that had to cancel the show, they had some construction maintenance stuff. She's amazing. Meg from Reason and Ruckus. Shout out to you, Meg. Love. Um, she called me on Wednesday with the solution. She had already found another venue. It was also all ages. It was directly across the street, like just like on the other side of the road, like through an alley.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, this would be amazing. She's like, I'm so sorry. I was like, I'm sorry. Most venues would not have done that.
Yeah.
And the headlining act is this gentleman, Henry Clooney, who played guitar in Stiff Little Fingers from like the late 70s.
Mhm.
One of my favorite punk bands. I'm like, I can't screw this up. I can't screw this up.
Yeah.
And like the other band was Frenchie and the Punk, which was like my wife and I was the first band we saw in the Hudson Valley before we ever moved
Oh
here.
wow. Cool.
And then another band on a 150-day tour. I was like, I can't fuck this up. This has to
Yeah.
be. This has to be.
Yeah.
So I went out to like the local universities 2 days beforehand, passing out handbills, getting kicked off the campuses. And I'm like, it has to come across. Like people need to know that it's moved, that it's working. And it was great. And I know how much I put into it. And I
Mhm.
don't care that anyone else knows, because all
Mhm.
I know is like, I enjoyed it
Mhm.
for all that it was. And yeah, I spent a whole tons of crazy money making extra flyers, and I probably lost money on the show, but I don't care. I would have
Yeah.
paid to go to that show. I would have driven 3 hours, stayed in a hotel
Yeah.
room, paid for that to go to that show.
Nice. Yeah.
So
That's the most beautiful
yeah,
feeling.
it just
Yeah.
feels really good. I had a gentleman on earlier on my podcast. He was a promoter in Tampa. He does a lot of great metal stuff. And Doxa Booking, and he owns a venue called the Conduit in Orlando. It was like, oh, no one knows who the promoters are and they don't matter. I was like, I beg to differ. I think that a certain promoter can create an atmosphere, and I get
Mhm.
it. He did a lot of shows and he booked all
Mhm.
over the state, so he couldn't be present at every single show he did. But I've only been absent, like since I've been doing shows in here in like 2 years. I've only missed
Mhm.
one or two shows, and those were because I had no other options. And I had a
Right.
good
Yeah.
person running the show for me that I trusted.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Savannah. Savannah the person, not Savannah, Georgia.
Yeah. No, I gotcha.
So where do you think you're going to go? Like, so like you're moving pretty fast. It sounds like
Mhm.
you've got 3 bands. You're making devil's advocate your brand. What's next? Are you going to like work on the website, find more bands? Where do you see yourself going in the next 5, 6 months, year from now? Like, where do you think you're going to be at?
Um, I'm good right now coasting with the 3 bands and just taking them as far as I can. I would love to do more, like I said, like I mentioned, like consulting and just seeing what I could do support wise for bands that aren't necessarily under my roster, you know? Um, I would like to, I see myself becoming more of a booker in town.
Okay.
Because most of my booking, well, I do some locally for sure, but I think most of my energy goes to out of town shows. And my buddy who I mentioned before that does AuraFest, he kind of has a good hold on booking metal here in Savannah. And I don't want to compete with him, but I'd like
Mm,
to have like a um just another person doing it. So I see myself as that person for sure. And then um eventually just branching out and keep like
yeah,
kind of making the circle bigger, you know?
yeah. Rising
Um
tides kind of lifts all boats, right? Like
yeah,
the more people doing shows, because you can't do every show.
right.
And
Yeah,
I don't know how big Savannah is. I'm pretty sure it's bigger than Kingston where I live. But
probably.
Kev from Negative Racks, you'll meet him when they come there
Mhm.
in a couple months. He does shows sometimes too. He's a brilliant, sweetest crust punk guy that actually manages to put stuff together. But every
Yeah.
now and then I do my monthly show and I'm like, dude, Kev, you booked a show on the same day as mine. He's like, couldn't help it, Scott. Band's on tour. They needed help. And I
Yeah.
was like, you know what? Respect to that. It's fine.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know what? I can't be upset that you book a great show with a touring band because my show was too filled and I couldn't add another band because sometimes you
Yeah.
just can't add another
Yeah.
band.
Hmm.
And no disrespect to anything he does of that nature, because in the end, people are going to go to his show, they go to mine, and I usually flyer for both because I want people
Hmm.
to go to the show they want to go to. It's not a
Right.
competition.
Yeah.
It's not me versus him. It's, hey, we have these two amazing shows a mile
Yeah.
apart from each other. Go to both even.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
How cool is that? That's the
Right?
best. Yeah.
I was like, let's make it happen because who knows which one of our
Yeah.
venues is going to disappear in the next year or two.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
'Cause that's always the case.
Hmm.
So who are you going to go see tonight? Which of your bands?
I'm going to see Oceaner.
Okay.
Yeah, they are doing, I think it's a 4-band bill. They're playing at a place down, no, it's not quite downtown. But it's called the Wormhole.
Okay.
It's a funny little bar. So, yeah, but I think a couple people from my other bands are going to see
Awesome.
them too.
Do
So
they all interact with each other, the other
they do,
bands? Or
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
They're very yeah, they're very supportive of each other. And when I told the others that I was gonna take on this other band, they're like, "Oh my God, that's so sick!" Like it wasn't at all like a weird
Yeah.
like
It's the rising
possession
tide. So like,
thing.
oh, you're gonna meet
Yeah,
another band, and that band's gonna have contacts and make open
yeah,
doors, and then we're all gonna be together and play shows
yeah,
together and tour together, and yay.
yeah. So I think it's gonna be really cool. But yeah, I'm this is their first show in a while.
Okay.
I say a while. It's been like maybe 2 months. Because they recorded the EP.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, it's been a second since I've seen them live. I go to their practices, but yeah, they're really fun. So I'm like, super excited.
And how did you discover, like, I know the one band the original band you started with, you discovered while you were getting your ear pierced. How did these ones all come about, or did they all come about differently? And do you have enough time to answer that? Because I know it's an hour and you've got to get to the show. We've already been talking. I don't want to take up too much of your
No,
time.
no, no. I mean, it's pretty easy. For the Maxines, I went to their very first show, which was an all cover show.
Okay.
And I was like, hey, and like went to talk to them. I knew kind of them and like the members individually, but not super well. And I was like, hey, like if you ever need a manager, like just feel free to let me know. And then like about 6 months go by and we kind of like run into each other again, or I can't remember if it was at a different show. And they were like, yeah, so we kind of need you now. And I was like, okay, cool. Let's do it. And then Oceaner came next and they reached out to me and it was funny. I was like, I saw the notification that they messaged me and I was like, oh, okay, they want to like somebody else like asking for a show. Like, cool,
Yep.
okay. And they're like, "Hey, like, would you like want to meet up and talk about managing us?" I was like, "What? Like, that's crazy. You want little me to do that?"
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and then picked them up, and then Lord Carrion, I was booking a show for them, and then we kind of got to talking, and I was like, do you like it sounds like you might need somebody if you ever need anything else, like even if it's not just booking, like let me know. And then they eventually signed a contract with me. um so yeah, it kind of like it's been a mixture of like timing and knowing, like just feeling out where the band is at
Yeah.
and seeing their potential. And with Oceaner, like I didn't know how serious they were about it.
Yeah.
Um, but then we got to talking and I met up with them and I was like, you guys are killer. You're so good and I need you to be everywhere that you can be. So I was just like, I'm gonna get you there. Um, so it's just kind of this mutual thing. And yeah, about timing and kind of putting yourself out there, you
All
know?
right. Have you
Yeah.
had the awkward moment of having to turn down a band who want it to be managed? Because I have to do that. I mean, obviously with shows you do, but I've had to be like, yeah, I'm not quite ready to record an album for you, or
Yeah.
don't have the funds to do it. Like there are polite ways to do it, but there's also like it's just not really my thing. Which I like to be honest with
Yeah.
some. If it's really just not my thing, I don't want to lead them on and think a year from now it'll be my thing when I have money.
Yeah. Yeah. There are like some kids. I call them kids, like they're just like maybe 20 something.
Yep, I get it. I do the same thing.
I'm 27, so like anybody under like 23, I'm just like you don't know anything. Um, but yeah, like I've had a couple like people like that I've been in a band for, like they just maybe just formed a band and were like kind of overly romanticizing the whole thing and like
Hmm.
feel like they need a manager when they don't really have that much original music. And I'm just like, like give it a little bit of time, play a couple shows, and then maybe we can talk about
Hmm.
something. And like that was one of the reasons I wanted to do the consulting thing, is like not only to protect artists, but to protect myself too. Like if I can just offer some basic
Sure.
guidance without us like signing on to anything indefinitely. So yeah, there have been a few times where I'm just like, yeah, like you're not really like
Yeah.
you're not ready. Yeah.
Have you how do you
Sorry,
handle your
my
press?
cat's on me
Oh
right
yeah, hey
now.
cat. Hey, what's up? So like, you mentioned Oshana, just was it Oshana that just recorded their
Their
sorry.
EP, yeah.
Yes. Is it Oshana or Shinner? Sorry.
Oceaner.
Oceaner. Sorry. I
Mhm.
will pronounce it correctly eventually.
You're okay.
Um did you do any PR for that? Because I've sometimes hired PR people to different levels of success. I've also tried to do it myself to different levels
Mhm.
of success, and I've never quite figured out if it's the release that gets more press or if it's
Yeah.
the press agent that I've hired or if I just drafted a better press release that day. And
Mhm.
it's a very difficult because I don't want perfunctory press. I don't want someone to take my press release and just copy and paste it. I know
Yeah.
it sometimes makes the band feel all good inside, but I want actual substance and something that leads traffic to the
Mhm.
store to buy the record. Have you tried
Yeah.
using press at all, or you do it yourself?
I do most of it myself. My dad was actually a journalist, so I kind of like grew up around that atmosphere. And it was, I mean, it's different because he did news media, but he knows kind of the rhythm of things. And just through like osmosis, I've gotten that. Um, and yeah, I mean, it is hard. To me, it is a lot about timing
Yep.
of things and inconsistency too. So I think if you are tactful in your image, so I always go back to like what is your image or values as I know you're people and you're a band, but you're
Sure.
also a brand,
Yep.
So what image are you trying to get across here? What message? What are your values as a brand? And so I kind of go back to that to answer a lot of the questions about how to promote a certain thing or what places to reach out to so that they
Yeah.
can promote the album or a show or a music video,
Yeah.
you know. And I think it is. I again, it's not the same. I think that's the thing I struggle with the most in terms of like you can't reuse the same um the same site or the same messaging. Like I'm actually, for the Maxines, I'm actually going through a complete website rebrand for
Yeah.
them for their upcoming album. So we're gonna make that a whole new thing. And and for that tactic, I'm not necessarily gonna like use that for every band or every album, you
Yeah.
know. This is just their big sophomore album, so we're gonna promote it. Uh,
Okay.
it's a pretty big step for them,
Yeah.
so we're gonna treat it as such.
Is it going to come out in a physical format or is it
Yeah,
straight digital?
yeah. So this is the first one we're doing vinyl for.
Awesome. Have you already picked
Yeah,
your pressing plant and everything?
we do. Yeah, we have a local one.
Okay. Awesome. Local's the
Yeah,
best.
yeah. We're super stoked. So it's gonna be really cool. And yeah, that's gonna be a new one for me to try to do press for. But I think it'll go fine. I mean, it's like everybody's fiending for vinyl now, so especially they're the type of band that it would do really well with. Because there's so much about um being, I don't know if this is weird to say, but they're a very like physical band, you know, so it would feel right to have like them as physical media. Um, they're kind of a very like tangible band, I
No, I think
guess.
that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's very interesting. Yeah. I mean, I've just recently used Clarion. It's a PR person, and I did it for my Wolf Face Celebration Summer Split where they were recording at Fest, and the album release shows are happening at Fest, and probably spending more money than I'm ever going to come close to making on the record for it.
Hmm.
But I'm also looking at it as long term for how it affects my label
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
making sure my connection with the Fest grows and making sure that these two good regional size bands feel like they got the treatment they deserved on this short run
Yeah.
record so that I can continue to say, hey, I've already worked with this band and they said I did a great job. So like to me, it's not inherently, I can't afford to do that for every release because I've had
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
15 releases a year. So I kind of have to pick and choose which ones get the extra cash that I have by extra cash.
Yeah. Yeah, it is a lot of like allocation and cost benefit analysis type thing. Um, but yeah, so it gets mathy, but it is also a lot about psychology and just
Yeah.
and your connections and just working your connections and just going that way. And that can get
Yeah.
you pretty far.
All right. I mean, I have thoroughly enjoyed meeting you. Um,
Yeah,
I
this has
am
been great.
I would hope that we can keep in touch later and we can just share ideas and
Absolutely.
thoughts
Absolutely.
because
Yeah.
you're coming from a different background than I am,
Hmm.
and you do slightly different stuff, but I also feel like there's a lot of interconnection. So I would
Yeah,
love to think that we can be a resource for each other. And
absolutely.
but I really thank you for being on my show tonight,
Thank you so
today.
much. This has been super fun.
So, and
Thank
everyone
you.
that's listening, I'm going to put all of Sophia's social media and all that on the show description. I'm going to put it for all the bands. Uh, thank you all for listening. Thank you, Sophia. It
Thank
has
you.
been an absolute pleasure.